I'm Healing Wolf, here to sail with you across the ocean of recovery to the calm shores of home, which is a peaceful nervous system. As we travel this wild road of recovery, it's helpful to stop and notice the ways in which our mind has changed, our mind has evolved. Because our mind will evolve first. Our mind will change before the uncomfortable sensations change. Because the mind is responsible for the uncomfortable sensations. Unconscious mind creates these sensations to keep you alive in the moment. It's wanting us to take dramatic action to make sure that we survive. But in many cases, that dramatic action just shrinks our life from a whole planet to a little pea. So we want to watch as we're on our journey in a mindful way for how our life expands. Are you watching for the expansion? And the expansion can be very subtle. There's something called progress amnesia, where you don't notice that your mind is allowing itself to consider doing things that it was very fearful of before. So, for example, if you've had a fear of doing something very safe but scary, like riding a roller coaster, but you've been doing the work of allowing sensations of anxiety or energy in your body or pain, and you've allowed those sensations, your mind might have a subtle shift where when you think about riding a roller coaster, in the past you used to think about riding a roller coaster and you would feel afraid. But if you start to think about riding a roller coaster and instead of being afraid, you're curious, you're noticing the mindset shift. Noticing those mindset shifts can be like watching the stars, watching the moon, watching the sun. They're moving. It's all moving. The earth's rotating. You don't realize it in the moment often. But if you stop and you think about it, you observe it and say, well, what does my mind think is okay for me to do today versus a year ago or 6 months ago or 2 years ago? Does my mind think it would be all right for me to jump up and run around the block? Can I do that? Would that be okay? And even if I had sensations, would it be fine to do that? If your mind used to say, hey, no way, I can never do that, then now it's saying, yeah, you can run around the block, no problem. Maybe you get sensation, maybe you don't, who cares? It's kind of like a curious indifference. Then you're making progress, and that's great. So on my own journey, there was like a year, I was bedbound. I was thinking, like, how in the world am I going to drive? How can I drive? Driving's crazy. Like I would have these thoughts of like intense fear around driving because I wasn't scared of crashing, or at least on the surface I wasn't. Unconscious mind may have been, but I'm not sure. But I think it was more the fear of the pain of sitting in a vehicle and doing all this stuff. And as I developed chronic pain, I was doing a good bit of driving. So I think all those cues were swirling around in my unconscious. But after a while, I started sitting more and more and embracing the sensations that would come, the flares or the recovery reactions. And as I did that, my mind started to expand where, oh yeah, I can drive. And then as I left Washington State to come here, my brother flew out and did most of the driving, but my mind sitting in the seat, even reclining in the seat, got so used to being in the vehicle that once I got to Florida and then decided that I was going to drive, my mind was had this attitude of, yeah, that won't be a big deal to drive a couple of hours over to Tampa, for example, or to drive up to North Carolina, for example. Like, I had this expansion in my mind, and I noticed it. It was a softening of any boundary of saying, oh, if you do that, you're going to have this very intense result. People sometimes say, oh, I got punished because I did this, but that's not the way to think about it. That's the way to stay in wherever you are. If you think you're a fibro sufferer and you try to measure your life with spoons, that kind of thing, it's a way of making sure your life stays small. But this video is about witnessing with curiosity the expansions in your mind. And one way to really expand that is visualization. If you visualize doing something, your mind thinks you're doing it. If you're really bringing your senses in, you're closing your eyes, you're maybe even having some real sense in the space that evoke a journey that you're on. But visualization, activating all your senses in the visualization, is a great way to expand your mind. And then you do that 10 times, and you look back and say, oh yeah, I visualized myself jumping in the ocean 10 times, and now I'm embracing that. Like, I pretty much think I can do it. And you can do it, and you will do it. So that's today's message. Watch for the expansions in mind first, and then go for it in life. Move into those expansions in this body, in this form, and however you've imagined them, or however your mind is relaxing into letting you do those things. Please subscribe to my channel and hop over to my website, healingwolfcoaching.com. If you're ready to work with me one-on-one, book a free consult and we can chat and get you set up, get you on my calendar so we can make these leaps forward together, and I can get you back to a full life, a more vibrant life than you ever imagined. I mean, I was swimming with manatees yesterday, probably 12 of them, doing things I never imagined doing. And that's coming for you too as you continue to expand and expand. I also have a group on Facebook called Healing Den, so check that out. And I will see you in the next video. I know you can witness your expansion because it's happening. Even just watching these videos is creating a wider and wider space for your mind to embrace and accept that your life is expanding again. I'll see you soon.